what most people don't know is that BABA stands for Born Again, Born Again.
Welcome to the Voodoo Room. Today we're with an accomplished jazz singer, booker, entertainer, and Lady Leah of the jazz world, Nichaud Fitzgibbon. Hello, Nichaud.
Thanks, Pete. I don't know about that Princess Leia thing. Not sure about that. Does that mean I have a lightsaber under the table?
Well, you're the princess of the galaxy in the jazz world. I mean...
Oh, thanks. Thank you. That's very lovely.
Well, you come from a prodigy of family lineage of jazz musicians, and which I sort of want to touch on, and with going back to sort of the mid-70s when your dad had the hotel, the jazz. What was it, Smaka's Bar?
Yeah, look, my dad started playing music in quite a few different hotels through the 50s into the 60s when he actually took over the, which is now called the Water Rat Hotel in South Melbourne. But in the early 60s, it was called the Druids Hotel. And he used to have little jazz parties in the cellar there and, sort of probably after hours, totally illegal sort of prohibition stuff because, pubs could only, they only went to about 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in those days, didn't they? 6 o'clock's closing. So, yeah, I think my dad was always a rebel. Fitzgibbon, notorious sort of Irish rebellious history there, and went on to create Melbourne's very first jazz nightclub in the 70s, which was called Smaka's Place in North Melbourne. And in between there was the La Rochette, of course, in Kew Boulevard, which was called the Boulevard for a while. So we kind of had some great places in really good areas through his life, yeah. So
the one in North Melbourne, how long did that exist for? Was that from like the early 70s or was that towards the middle of the 70s?
Yeah, that was, my dad discovered this old rundown building. It was a wine shop. He actually saw the sign, Australian wine shop, and he was really curious and he went and had a look at the whole place and discovered there was a garage out the back and it had a really amazing old car in there. And he fell in love with it because it was a big old garage with a high ceiling, scaffolding in the ceiling, and he had a dream and my mum had a dream of having a beautiful nightclub, and so they begged, borrowed and stole to get that place happening, and it was launched in 1971, went through to 1979, unfortunately, when my dad passed away. We stayed on a couple of years just to kind of keep going, and Mark was already playing the piano. I started singing, and we left in probably 1982, I think, was the last year we had it. And then it went through many different changes after that. But
so you had a lot of distinguished rock and roll musicians used to drop in during their shows, right? Like Bon Scott.
Oh, yeah, because there was a lot of rock and roll musicians that just loved my dad, the way he performed. So, John Farnham used to come in and LRB came in and, believe it or not, Bon Scott.
Of course.
From AC/DC.
Fantastic. And
he was such a lovely guy. He actually sent us a Christmas card that year. So,
So what year was that he come in?
Oh, look, maybe it was 78.
Oh, wow. So that would have been towards just before he passed away as well.
Yeah, 77, 78. I have a photo of that night. So, yeah.
Was that put into a local newspaper at the time with him and you together or anything like that?
No, just in my private memoirs.
Oh, your private memoirs. Because, I mean, that's a very special... I mean, I think it was a very special period of Australian music generally because the crowds were there. People were going out and watching live music. It's a far cry to what we are experiencing now. And, of course, you were what was your role with the current Stonnington Jazz Festival? You were the...
Stonnington?
The Stonnington.
Well, I was recommended to the powers that be there because they needed assistance with programming, and they'd already selected Stephen McCallum from the MSO. He's kind of behind the scenes with them, and I joined forces and I kind of collaborated, and I chose many artists for what was meant to be this year's program, and hopefully it'll be postponed till next year. So I started working on that with Stephen last November, and it was all finalised, and we were so excited about it, looking forward to it. And, you know, it's kind of ironic because one of the key milestones was the, 100 years of prohibition, and we're actually all in a sort of semi-prohibition now with, not being able to do anything and go out and do our normal life, have our normal life in places and, go to coffee shops and restaurants and music clubs and, it's kind of the weirdest thing anyone's ever been through.
So that would have impacted on you financially as well, wouldn't it? I mean, because obviously...
Definitely. Oh, definitely. I've lost all my own personal gigs and, that's really clocking up to a few $1,000s. My other part-time job I have been without as well. So I think all musicians and all artistic people have really had it hard because if we're not doing our art or creating, we've also got a part-time job, and most of those jobs are either in hospitality because they've got flexible hours and things like that. And so it's like a double whammy for us not being able to do anything. I've applied for that JobKeeper through my other part-time work. And, we'll see what happens. But it's definitely a crisis.
Hopefully we can all survive it,
Yeah,
unscathed.
I hope so. I'm not sure how long it's all going to last, but I believe you've got to stay positive and really, give yourself time to ground yourself. I find, going out and walking around the park is really important for me daily, and doing some stretches and yoga and having a mantra that's positive, and also, keeping in touch with friends via phone, not so much by texts. I think it's important. We're all phoning people now, and that's important. We all need support. We're all in it together, and it's heavy, but we can't let it get us down. The Fitzgibbon family motto, from the White Knight through history, he was an ordained knight. In the Middle Ages, the motto was nil admirare, which means to be surprised by nothing. So I'm surprised by nothing these days. I think it's a good way to be, but we are shocked. We are shocked to our core. Everyone's scared. Nobody, we're all going, what's going to happen? This is terrible. The carpet's been pulled up under our feet. Where we land, we don't know. How it's going to work out in the end, nobody knows.
It's socialism.
Hey?
It's a world socialism. Everyone's equal. It's a neutralizer. Yeah. We're all the same.
Yeah.
But have you been trying to sort of think of things of how you're going to be post-corona? With musical projects or whatever?
Oh, well, look, that's a big question, Pete, because I actually have had a really hard time personally because I lost my mother just a few weeks ago, and that was huge for me. And I think dealing with that and then having to, go through all the things you have to go through, I haven't had that clarity of mind yet to speak about what I'm going to do personally after this or what's going to change for me, because I was working on a couple of shows before this happened. It's kind of like I'm in a bit of limbo personally on that front at the moment. But I know that when we do have this solitude, things will come to us, ideas, creativity. It does flow for the creatives and people, you know, who already like to have their own alone time. You will use it with, you know, productive things, I'm sure.
Good time to meditate.
Yeah. While I've been doing this, I've been trying to catalogue all my costumes. When you said, what am I doing?
Okay.
I've been, you know, trying to take photos of all my costumes that I've collected all these years.
Okay.
Because I was in the process of wanting to sell them, and I was thinking that Rose Chong Costume Hire would be interested in all my costumes from, you know, the So Nice band, because they were sort of 60s, 70s outfits. And so that's something I've been trying to do while I'm in isolation. Yeah,
it's a shame you don't have any male clothes, you know, from that period of time.
I've got a couple of guys' suits, but yeah, mostly girl stuff. This is the thing. I mean, because we're so in lockdown, I don't even think people are interested in clothes anymore because they've got everything they need at home. Why would they want to keep buying stuff? It's sort of changed everyone's mindset.
They're buying orange peel. That's what they're buying. I could not find orange peel at the supermarket yesterday.
Orange peel?
Orange peel.
Why did you want orange peel?
Because I was trying to make hot crust buns.
Oh. You just need to buy some oranges.
No, but then you got to dry it out.
Don't you just get it off the peel?
No, then you got to dry it out. So these are dried
orange peel.
Peels,
I get it, right, okay.
And I could not find it. I went to 3 different shops and I could not find it. And then I thought, geez, and then all of a sudden you can find heaps of toilet paper. So you got you got no orange peel, no flour, but you got toilet paper and hand sanitizer. So
my God,
it's freaking me out. I mean, everything's just upside down.
Well, you should have gone to NSM. NSM, they're one of the best. They've probably got it there.
Where's
you know that one on Victoria Street, Brunswick?
No, I don't know that one. No.
NSM, they've got it.
So I noticed that throughout your career, you've actually performed to some distinguished prime ministers, one being Julia Gillard and the other one Paul Keating. What was that? Mm-hmm. Why were you doing that?
Well, the Paul Keating one, well, that was for, God, you're testing my memory now, 100 years, centenary. It was at the Palais Theatre and it was with James Morrison, and I was with Shelley Scowen and the other singer who used to work with John Farnham. Vanetta Fields, thank you. Yeah. Vanetta, myself and Shelley Scowen. We all did Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, Palais Theatre, and it was filmed and it was fantastic and lovely little moment in time. And afterwards we all lined up to meet, you know, the then Prime Minister and shook hands with, which you can't do now, but, you know, with Paul Keating. And the other one, Julia Gillard, well, that was the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Darwin.
Okay.
And that was quite significant because I didn't realise what had happened through that war time and how badly Darwin was bombed. And that it was quite emotional because it was the last few remaining diggers. And I was chosen to go up there and take my band and play for the concert, and it was great, and I really enjoyed it. And
did you take a big band up there, or was it just a
quartet? I just took a small band. In fact, I took, Daryl Ferrugia up with me.
Oh, fantastic.
Your other recent interviewee.
Yes, indeed.
Johnny Tuccio and Philip Rex and, I can't think, it was another guitarist, I can't think now. But yeah, it was a small quintet, but it was fun. It was great. And Julia Gillard apparently stayed to the very end, and the word on the street was nobody ever stays, politicians never stay, the music must have been really good. So,
that's it. And so I know, because we've been friends for many years, and we first met each other at Ormond Hall many years ago.
Yeah.
Would that be right? But that's where we first.
Right? Yeah,
I think so.
I can't remember. My brother Andrew was always saying, "Do you know Pete Camilleri? Oh, you've got to meet Pete Camilleri." And because I think at that time we were running the Royal Derby Hotel.
Yes, that's right. That's
and
right.
He knew you through doing some work with some other musos. Yeah, and then I think
I remember going to the Royal Derby. Well, that would have been 95. Would that something like that? 96. Did you still own it then? Yeah.
I think we did it from 95 to 2000, something like that.
Okay. And it was a Tuesday night, and I think it was. Did you used to have a lesbian night on a Tuesday night or something?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Okay.
We did everything there. We did everything. We had
so you were already
Curry night.
You were gendered appropriate at the time for the time, so you were ahead of yourself.
Yeah, well, it was it was a great band called Blue House, and we wanted to give them a go. And they had a residency. We had a jazz jam night. We had a curry night, and we also I gave the Stone Cold Boners an opportunity to be a regular band there on a Saturday night. So we had disco, and then on the Sundays we had rockabilly Sundays, which was great. And my brothers created Baba through that venue because they said, Melbourne needs another ABBA tribute, and both my brothers created that whole concept. And, just continuing till this day.
That was called Baba?
Yeah. Yeah, Dominic Andrew came up with that idea.
Oh, right. So they still perform, right?
Baba do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not the other one they're not the first cover band that did ABBA songs.
I think it was because Beyond Again was the first cover band, and then Baba was the second cover band.
Gotcha.
And what most people don't know is that Baba stands for Beyond Again, Born Again. Brother Dominic thought of that.
So are you performing? Have you caught up with your brother Mark, and are you doing any work with him at all?
Yeah, I haven't seen Mark for a while, but I know he's busy teaching at home. He's doing Zoom on, TV. Video, internet, with his students, and it's just kind of hard because we can't really get together and play because it's against the rules.
Yes, that's right. You get a $1,600 fine. You know that. It's pretty hefty, isn't it? That's $1,600. I read an article in the paper a couple of days ago where a woman was taking her daughter for a driving lesson and they got fined $1,600. Did you hear about that? Yeah,
I think I actually spoke to someone in the country. I think it was up in the country, and I think this particular girl may have overturned that.
They overturned it. Oh, great.
Because they challenged the policeman, and
it's ridiculous.
It was a lesson because I think it was said that you could have a lesson or if regarding education. So it's all very difficult. I just didn't think people would start to go down that track of jobbing on others.
What's your conspiracy theories at the moment?
My conspiracy theories.
Did you hear about the 5G towers in England being burnt down?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they're
burning. Have people done that already?
Yeah, they're burning. They're burning them. They're not just chopping them down. They're actually burning them. So it's almost like
are they burning them in Birmingham? I know it's not funny. I'm not meant to be laughing. But,
no, you can laugh. This is an open chat. You can laugh. You can. It's YouTube. You can do whatever you want, love.
Well, look, with the conspiracy theories, I'm finding it's very difficult because personally, some things resonate with me, and I see truths where some people don't see any truth. And if you have make a statement about that, a lot of people get angry. So this is quite confusing for me because I don't have anger at it. I'm getting frustrated, but I don't get angry. I see the frustration with our way of life being completely changed, and I think that there are concerns about the 5G rollout. I do see an equation there. Is it coincidental? I ask myself questions all the time. Why would they say that some area had a 5G rollout and suddenly now they all get sick. I asked the question, why is that? Is that a coincidence? Or does that really mean something? So I don't see myself as a conspiratist, whatever it is. I don't see myself like that.
No?
I actually see myself as an inquisitive person.
Sure.
Asking things, and I trust my gut, and that's in touch with you. It's just sort of being in touch with your, I guess, instincts or something. I find it trusting my instincts on things, on everything, That's how I like to see things.
Well, you're a Taurian.
I really
don't
trust the mainstream media, though.
Yeah.
I find that that's fake, and a lot of things have, because we have no, they're churning out stuff to make people become fearful and create a sort of different energy in the world. That's what I think. But that may not be what everybody else thinks.
No, we're all entitled to an opinion, but I think some of your sensitivity comes from you being a Taurian, Nichaud.
That's interesting because, Taurians are known to be quite grounded and we connect with the earth a lot. Maybe that's so, Pete. Yeah, because you're a Taurian too.
Yeah.
Little Taurians in a pod.
And I stay up at night thinking about 5G towers, I've got to tell you. But when I read that article, I just wanted to point out, I remember, when in the, the 17th century or the 16th century, when they had the Black Plague and they were burning witches in the street, that's what it reminds me of, that the 5G towers are like the black witches in the 17th century, and people are going to start taking to the towers in the same manner and crucifying the towers,
Well, look, there's just, to be what the problem is, there hasn't been enough testing. And what I pick up on that is that there is an element of danger with this new frequency. I'm thinking about animal life, insect life. We are all frequencies. Of course, it's going to impact on us, and maybe we haven't had time to adjust to it. I don't know. Can we ever adjust to things? I don't know. I don't know what the consensus is, because there's too many people saying opposite things all the time. So we're always feeling a little bit unsure of what to really trust and what to believe.
Yeah.
But all I know is when I see certain things or hear certain things, if it doesn't resonate with me, I just have a complete sort of, no, that doesn't make sense to me. That's how I react. And I don't get angry, and I don't slam people or say things against them or call them names and insult them. I just let it be.
Yeah.
Because it's somebody else that's having a different moment.
Yeah.
That's all.
Sounds like someone's like...
Magical words, That was written in the 60s, baby. Let it be.
It sounds like someone's making a cup of tea in the background.
Yes, Alfred's just come in from fixing his hothouse.
Okay.
Blew away.
So, with regards to some of the things you just mentioned there, I was reading another article recently about Wuhan, and they've opened up those markets again. Did you hear about that?
No.
And that I just don't understand. Why would they, if that's where it started, why would they reopen those animal wet markets?
Yeah.
And then expose people again.
It's kind of weird.
It's pretty contradictory, isn't it? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And then you hear about the NRL want to start playing games in May, and if anyone's going to get the coronavirus without a remedy, it's going to be people like footballers who sit on each other and sweat, and they're going to transmit their fluids on each other. And so how does that work? Yeah. I wonder. Each year there's a very deadly flu that kills a lot of people. And this is the thing about the statistics, is that you can't make comparisons with the current coronavirus, because when you take a year of data of how many people have died in a 12-month period, I mean, corona's only been around for, 3 months, and we're already up to, I think in America, has surpassed 20,000 deaths.
To be in this position, we have to concentrate on keeping ourselves healthy. But what I was going to say is last year I did get the flu, and I knew that I got really run down. I wasn't eating properly. I had a lot of stress, high stress combined with not enough sleep. I wasn't sleeping properly, not eating properly, and my whole immune system plummeted. And I picked up the flu virus, and I was sick as I've never been so sick in my life. And I actually isolated myself by choice and dealt with it holistically and made all the remedies. I did go to the chemist and get some things, but I made the remedies and I got over it within 3 weeks. But all I'm trying to say is it is about how we are. If we are stressed, that causes, us to get run down. If we are run down, we're going to get the flu.
Absolutely. But you've got a little...
I don't know if healthy people get it. The only thing I do know is that people who have already compromised immune systems get it. That's
me.
What I've heard.
That's me. I've got a compromised immune system. But I've been taking probiotics and vitamin D and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm, at the moment, knock on wood, I'm in good shape. But you've got a little spray next to you. What is that spray you've got there? What do you call that spray?
Couple, actually. Well, this one I can highly recommend. This is called Breathe Easy. But that's just for when you've got a cold and a flu, It's a mixture of essential oils, and it works well on antibacterial, antiviral, helps you breathe through the nose, and it's good. That's from In Essence. You can get from the chemist shop, My Chemist. And the other one is Thieves, which is a really good hand one. You can spray it on your hanky as well. This is a mixture of clove oil and other things. Thieves is good.
Thieves.
Well, they're my two ones.
And what about the garlic? Have you been chewing on the garlic?
Oh, I actually haven't been chewing on the garlic, but I've heard that the best way to boost your immune system is by actually crushing the garlic, putting it in the water, in not tap water, in distilled water or mineral water, and leaving it overnight and then drinking that down the next day. Drinking the water goes through into the bloodstream a lot quicker, and because garlic burns, maybe it's not so good. I used to believe you had to swallow it, but now I'm doing the water thing. But I do suck on cloves every day, 3 times a day is good.
Fantastic. When was the last time you did a morning melody show at the Hamer Hall?
Oh, my gosh, that's a long time ago, Pete.
Was it?
But I know. Let me talk about, you know what, I did a really, really good gig at the Paris Cat a few months ago. It was one of the best nights we ever had. Okay. And the audience was one of those nights that was magical. The audience was electric from the moment we started. They were with us. It was kind of bizarre. I don't know, the stars aligned on this particular night. And they were cheering, they were wanting more, and no kidding, we got 3 encores. Now, fantastic. That's never happened to me, and it was wonderful.
Oh, fantastic.
And
was
certainly say the band was on fire, the audience was on fire. Sometimes it just happens, and it's always like when you're an entertainer and a musician, you want to give people something, and entertaining is part of it, but jazz can be serious, but it also can be fun. And, the audience relates to the person who's in command. And I guess when you're talking to them, telling them a story, making them laugh, whatever it is, they get on your train and they go with you. And, and it's also the musicians who elevate the audience with what they're playing and how they solo. And, it's always different.
Was that before Christmas, or was that before Corona shut everything down?
Oh, yeah, that was before Coronaville.
That was before Coronaville. So it was late last year.
Yeah, midway through last year.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's great. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your time.
I don't know if we had enough laughs through this interview. Did we or not? Ours seemed to be very serious compared to Daryl's.
Well, have you got? Well, we can still, have you got a funny story you want to share, or?
Well, I can tell a funny story about my brother Andrew, who was playing with the Swinging Sidewalks one time, and they happened to be, I'm not sure where the gig was, maybe it could have been at the SB or who knows, but someone was quite drunk and they just walked up on stage and grabbed the microphone, and, Steve Purcell's playing the bass and, Di Jones is on the guitar, and anyway, this person grabs the microphone and Andrew, my brother, who's on the drums, yells out, "Hey, mate, ask for security. Ask them do they know security?" And the guys on the microphone start saying, "Security, security." Yeah, and then it's going, "Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it, that song, Security." And this idiot was yelling out for the security.
Yeah, for those Maori guys who hang out at the front of the SB and will pound you to a pulp if you even look at them in a particular way.
Are they? Do they still do that?
Well, they were pretty big guys. Those guys at the SB, man, they were pretty big guys. At the front there. I mean, those bouncers, But yeah, I remember seeing a bit of footage of you actually at the SB on the front bar in the early, and you had Nicky Bomber on drums.
Oh yeah, in the 90s, yeah. Well, we played a residency there from 1989 till 1991, I think.
And he was, and the band was consistent throughout that period of time.
It was called Yo-Yo. It was sort of like my original funk band.
Yeah,
we did a few things. In fact, I want your help to make a little video clip for me for one of the songs. I think it's quite apt. It's called "Love Child."
I'm always willing to help. We've got plenty of time. We've got plenty of time on our hands, love. We can do all sorts of things.
Well, that's one thing when you said to me, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, yes, actually, that's something I'd like to do. Is put a little film together."
Yeah, totally. We'll be more than happy to help you on that one. All right.
Yeah. Well, keep on the up and up.
Yes, I will, and look out for the promo, and we'll share it all around, and we'll get heaps of views, man.
I hope so. I don't know. Edit out the bad stuff.
Yeah. All right, well, take it easy and enjoy your day.
Ciao for now.
Ciao. Bye.
When voodoo strikes, it'll tear apart your head. When voodoo strikes, you wish that you was dead. When voodoo strikes,